Bnei Brak or Bnei Brak is a city located on the central Mediterranean coastal plain in Israel, just east of Tel Aviv, a center of Haredi Judaism. Bnei Brak covers an area of 709 hectares and had a population of 204,639 in 2019. It is one of the poorest and most densely populated cities in Israel, and the 10th most densely populated city in the world. Bnei Brak takes its name from the ancient biblical city of Bnei Brak, mentioned in the Tanakh 3 times a day, for the Daf Yomi Shia, and a Gemara Shia and an additional one in Mishnayos and the Shulchan Aruch. In 1928, the Great Synagogue was completed, and the village committee celebrated its inauguration by presenting statistics noting its development over the past 4 years. Bnei Brak, with a population of about 800 residents, covered about 2,000 dungs, including about 800 dungs which were citrus groves. It had 116 houses, 31 huts, 6 public buildings, and 48 cowsheds. In the summer of 1929, Bnei Brak was connected to the electricity grid. In the 1931 census of Palestine, the population of Bnei Brak was 956, all Jewish, in 255 houses. In 1940, it had 4,500 residents and 25 factories. In 1948, the population was 9,300. Bnei Brak achieved city status in 1950. Bnei Brak 1925. View of colony with the Gate of Honor. Bnei Brak 1925. Bnei Brak 1927. Bnei Brak 1927. Bnei Brak 1927. Bnei Brak 1928. 3 generations. Bnei Brak 1928. Bnei Brak School 1931. In April 2020, the entire city of Bnei Brak was placed under quarantine due to the coronavirus outbreak. Rabbi Avrohom Yeshaya Karelitz, Rabbi Elazar Menahem Munshech, Rabbi Michel Yehuda Lefkowitz, and Rabbi Aharon Yehuda Lieb Steinman. Notable rabbis who reside in Bnei Brak today are Rabbi Nissim Karelitz, Rabbi Shamuel Wozner and Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky. In the early 1950s, the Vishnitzer Rebbe, Rabbi Chaim Meir Hager, founded a large neighborhood in Bnei Brak which continued to serve as a dynastic center under his son, Rabbi Moshe Yehoshua Hager, and under his grandsons, Rabbi Yisrael Hager and Rabbi Menahem Mendel Hager. Beginning in the 1960s, the Rebbes of the Ukrainian Rushin dynasty of the Lithuanian Haredi community, heads a Beth Din of Lithuanian and Hasidic Dayanim, called Shieres Yisrael. According to figures by the municipality of Bnei Brak, the city has a population of over 181,000 residents, the majority of whom are Haredi Jews. It also has the largest population density of any city in Israel, with 25,540 per square kilometers. In the April 2019 Israeli legislative election, 88% of the voters chose Haredi parties. Pardes Katz, a neighborhood of about 30,000 inhabitants in northern Bnei Brak, is the sole neighborhood of the city where the majority of residents are not Haredi. One of the landmarks of Bnei Brak is the Coca-Cola bottling plant in Kahaneman Saint. It is owned by the Central Bottling Company, which has held the Israeli franchise for Coca-Cola products since 1968. It is among Coca-Cola's 10 largest single-plant bottling facilities worldwide. 2 major factories which dominated the center of Bnei Brak for many years were the Dubek cigarette factory and the Sem food factory. As the town grew, they found themselves in the middle of a residential area. Both left the area. Sem's main factory is now located on Jabotinsky Road in Petah Tikva, just next to Bnei Brak. In 2011, construction started on a business district, which will include 15 office towers. Several of the towers of the Bnei Brak Business Center are already built as of 2020, and other buildings won't be completed until after 2021. Until the 1970s, the Bnei Brak municipality was headed by religious Zionist mayors. After Mayor Gottlieb of the National Religious Party was defeated, Haredi parties grew in status and influence. Since then they have governed the city. As the Haredi population grew, the demand for public religious observance increased and more residents requested the closure of their neighborhoods to vehicular traffic on Shabbat. In a short period of time, most of Bnei Brak's secular and religious Zionist residents migrated elsewhere, and the city has become almost homogeneously Haredi. The city has one secular neighborhood, Pardes Katz. Some names of streets with a Zionist connotation were renamed for prominent Haredi figures. For example, the part of Herzl Street south of Jabotinsky Street was changed to Harav Sheikh Saint Bnei Brak is one of the two poorest cities in Israel. A street in Bnei Brak was named after a town's founders who was a great-grandfather of murdered journalist Daniel Pearl. Bnei Brak is home to Israel's first women-only department store. Only one example of gender segregation in what is viewed as an ultra-Orthodox city. Bnei Brak was home to one of the original gender-segregated bus lines that Israel's courts ruled were illegal. Mehadrin bus lines are a type of bus line in Israel that mostly ran in and or between major Haredi population centers and in which gender segregation and other rigid religious rules